Joining us in our Washington studio is Saruhan Hartipoglu, CEO of Business Environmental Risk Intelligence. He's also CGTN's Global Economics Analyst. Boy, so much to ask you, Saruhan. Let me begin with this crackdown on foreign investments in the U.S. and what Jessica was talking about. Is the United States, in fact, sending a message to China about its investments in this country because of this trade war going on?
Yes and no, because the restrictions have actually started earlier. If you look at 2016 numbers, Asieh, we had about 45 to 46 billion Chinese investment into the United States. That number is about 2 billion or so in the first half of this year. This has happened because of the restrictions, yes, but also in China last year, if you recall, there was some capital controls to kind of control the economic excesses. So both of these things came together, and now with the trade tension, that scrutiny is going to increase, and we're going to see a very, very low number of investments in the United States from China.
So let me move on to the actual trade dispute and the tariff war that's going on. The two sides are meeting once again in Washington for the first time since June. Do you really expect progress? Even President Trump himself said he's not expecting much progress. What has changed in 2 months that there might be belief or some kind of optimism, perhaps, that the two sides can somehow narrow their differences?
Two things. One, President Trump realizes that there's now 2 months to the elections, 2 to 3 months. So that time period is very important. That has changed. So the United States is also trying to find a resolution to this, even though we're hearing tough talk. Now, the low-level talks are important because that's where the groundwork is put in. President Xi and President Trump are going to meet in November 2 times, and this team is trying to sort out differences so that some big decisions can be made in November. But you said it. If you're the team captain and you say, I don't think we're going to win this game in the locker room, what kind of confidence does that give to the team when it takes onto the pitch? That's what we're seeing here. At the same time, while the U.S. is saying, well, we need to kind of find a resolution to this, they're slapping 16 billion tariffs effective today, and they're starting talks on the 200 billion worth of tariffs on Monday. That doesn't send the right message.
So seriously, what is going to happen if the U.S. goes ahead with its threats and follow through on this $200 billion worth of Chinese goods, the tariffs on these items? How are consumers going to feel the impact? Because up until now, we, the consumer, haven't directly felt the hit on most products.
You're absolutely right, because the consumer goods were not part of the tariffs. Now, with the 200 billion proposed tariffs, consumer goods will be there at a time when retail is doing really, really well in the United States. So I guess they're encouraged by that. So yes, retail is going to take a hit, consumers are going to take a hit, but numbers are good. So that's the calculation, in my opinion, with the Trump team. However, let us not forget the importance of inflation. Let us not forget the importance of higher prices in retail and its impact on consumers who are going to be voting very soon in the midterm elections.
And talk to me about the role of the World Trade Organization. We've mentioned it time after time again. China has filed complaints with the WTO. What can the WTO do here?
Not much. Not only because the institution itself is kind of a slow-moving institution, but at the same time, the U.S. has pretty much withdrawn support from the WTO. Whether it files cases or cases are filed against it, the speed is going to be very, very slow. And at some point, President Trump might say, well, it's time to leave the WTO, which is also going to complicate things quite a bit.
And it's not just China that the U.S. has waged a trade war with. We've seen it with Canada. We've seen it with Mexico. We've seen it with your home country, Turkey. Have you ever seen anything like this? In every direction, there's a trade dispute seemingly going on.
No, I don't remember in contemporary history, but what is happening? Well, Turkey is a different. I was there actually last week. There's more political issues there that's prompted this issue. But yeah, you need to have some allies in this if you're declaring
Saudi
war.
Arabia,
well,
Israel.
So far, right?
Discussion.
That can also change very quickly with the Aramco IPO being delayed and all. But the bottom line is the team in the United States also knows that this is not sustainable, that they have to find a solution to this. Hopefully, some changes are going to take place this talks, but definitely by November, I'm expecting good things.
We'll see what happens. Saruhan Hartipoglu, thank you so much.